Hello everyone. In this video, we will be continuing the concept of the photo emission. So already in the previous video, just we started discussing what is laser and generation of laser, the working principle, all those things we have discussed. But when we were discussing about the photon emission concept, the video got disconnected. So we will be continuing the same topic in this video because this is very important to understand the actual working principle, like how the laser beam is producing. We should be aware of this photon emission concept. So quickly we'll just recollect the principle of non-traditional machining. So the principle of laser beam machining is nothing but, sorry, so the laser beam machining is based on conversion of electrical energy into light energy and then to the thermal energy. So anyway, for the electrical energy, we are like depending on some of the sources, usually like a high pulsed heavy voltage, or like any like a AC or DC current source is required based on the applications what exactly we are removing, and we are converting that electrical energy into the light energy. So already in like early 1900s, Einstein, he published a paper where he clearly mentioned, so by using the light energy where it is possible to excite the atoms. So he specified, like very specifically, like a excitation of the electrons can be done through that some energy, thermal energy, radioactive energy will be producing, and using that particular energy where we can utilize like some useful applications or some useful purposes can be done. All those things he has defined. So based on his like the idea only, like this laser concept has been arised. So now we need to discuss about how this photons is converting the current into the what is it light energy. What is the principle behind converting the electrical energy into the light energy into the thermal energy? We'll be discussing. So, as we know, like the any atom you consist of means it consists of protons, neutrons, and electrons, where the electrons are negatively charged particles, and usually like other protons and neutrons, even it carries some energy. So, the energy related with the orbit in which the electrons are revolving. So they generally are present on the outermost orbit of the atom, and it takes part in the process of energy absorption or emission, whatever the process. The protons and neutrons that generally will not involve in any kind of this energy absorption or the emission process. So this is the first basic information we should be aware. Then starting about the ground state. So when we speak about the an atom where orbit means, we have the different state like ground state and the excited state. Ground state is nothing but the electron usually which is present in its normal orbit, that is a normal position. So is the state with lowest energy is the most stable state of the electron. It is in the normal ground state. But after absorbing the energy, what is happening means the electron jumping to the higher energy state and staying there for some seconds, and again it is jumping back to the ground state and release the absorbed energy. So in this picture we can able to see this. It is a picture of any atom. You can take any atom an example. This is the nucleus, and this is the orbits, assuming that it's having only a single orbit where the electron is present here. Okay, so it is in the ground state. You can able to see like the electron, whatever I'm showing, see electron, and which is only one orbit is having this particular atom, and we are calling it as an excited state where the energy levels are very low generally. So what I'll be doing means, now I'll be supplying some like some kind of energy I'll be supplying. So because of some energy, what is happening? Still, I didn't tell what kind of energy. Basically, it is a photon. It is like a thermal energy. Let me call it as a thermal. What is it? Electrical energy. Let me call it as an electrical energy, or like any kind of thing. So when it is hammered, means what is happening means the electron which is present in the ground level, which gets excited, and it reaches to some other excited. So you can able to see it has crossed like 1 to second orbit has crossed, and later after some time what is happening again from this excited state, it is coming back to what, to the normal ground state. During this process, what is happening, a light source is producing. We can able to see like because of some heavy current, the electron got excited and it has reached the excited state, and after reaching the excited state it is again coming back to the ground state. As a result, like a photon is producing. We will call it as a light source is producing, but the light source usually it is in the red fluorescent color, and it is highly radioactive in the sense like a very high temperature is also there. Okay, so this is the concept behind the laser. So electron ground state, when electrical energy is supplied, it gets excited with high levels, and again once it is coming back to the normal level, it is producing a red fluorescent light. That is that we are calling it as a photon, and this photon this light source is having a like a highly radioactive nature. Now, so this jumper we may like generally classify into two stages. That is, electron from the higher state may not come directly to the ground state, but may halt for some microseconds on some intermediate state before finally coming to the ground state. So the period for which the electron stays in a higher energy state is known as the lifetime of that energy state. And what is mean lasing action? It is not lasering action, it is lasing action. So lasing action is nothing but the emission of photon is not done by only one atom at upper energy level, but on influence on the influence of external light, a sort of chain reactions occur, and one after other atoms it start emitting photons. So thus the whole avalanche dumps down together, and this is called as the lasing action. And here you can able to see where in a graph I have shown like the energy levels of the electrons. Assuming this particular levels is nothing but the ground level. Why I have shown away from like the origin means already the electron which is present on the ground level is having some energy, comparatively less energy. But that is why some amount of energy I have shown. That is why in this particular line I have shown. So when I am supplying the current, the electrons which is present at the ground level, which gets excited and it moving to the high energy level. You can able to see the arrow mark straightly it has moved to the higher energy level. And later what is happening after reach the higher energy level, it stays there for some time, and afterwards it will again come back to the intermediate level. You can able to see slowly it will reducing, but in between there is something called intermediate level. That is in between the ground level and higher level we have something called intermediate. During this particular level only, the process what is that the photons will get emitted. The photons are getting emitted, along with that in the form of red fluorescent light. The photons are getting emitted, and which is highly radioactive. That is like the thermal energy levels are very high, but not all the materials are suitable for producing laser beam. This is very important, like which beam can able to produce this one here. So one of the common laser materials and also one capable of delivering high power is the chromium on a ruby crystal. So the material which can able to convert what is that the thermal energy into the photons means all the materials are not recommended. So the material here recommended is nothing but ruby crystal. So the ruby crystal is nothing but basically it is a chromium. So crystal ruby is chromium dispersed with the aluminium oxide. So generally the ruby rod will be having 1 centimeter diameter and 10 centimeter long, with ends polished fully is used. So in the next video we can directly discuss of the working principle and other things. So the things to be remembered for before moving to the operation. So ruby crystal is a very important like a material where which is nothing but the aluminum oxide is completely dispersed with the chromium, and both the sides it is completely polished, where one side it is partially polished and the other side it is fully polished with the usually silver. So silver oxide is usually used, and the size of this ruby crystal is nothing but 1 centimeter diameter, 1 centimeter diameter and 10 centimeter long. So this is the recommended range for the crystal ruby. Okay, we can discuss the operation in the next video. Thank you.